Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to welcome you to the Small Business Financing panel today. For your benefit, we have esteemed panelists here to answer questions that you've been dying to ask or know with respect to contracting with the City of Austin and specifically financing those ventures to help you build a successful company here in Austin. And so let me first welcome Alma Alvarez Brown from Lift Fund. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alma.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Next, we have Casey Ubias with the City of Austin Economic Development Department. Thank you, Casey, for joining us today.
Thank you, Javier. I'm glad to be here.
Next up, we have Raquel Valdez Sanchez with BCL of Texas. So good to see you, Raquel.
Good to see you too, Javier.
And next we have Cheyenne Alvarez with People Fund. Thank you so much for joining us today, Cheyenne.
Hi, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I want to thank each of y'all for being here and lending your expertise. We are going to have some structured questions to help answer some of our basic topics, but I did want to encourage the group to really kind of bring out some of your responses so that we can provide the best benefit to our small business community here that's learning how they can best leverage the resources and opportunities for them to grow their company. So to kick us off today, I wanted to see if I could take just a few minutes here and allow each of you to introduce yourselves. Please provide your name, the name of your organization, and just a real quick snippet of how you got involved in the entrepreneurial journey. And I will start off with Alma.
I was going to say, do you want me to go first? Great. Thank you so much. So hello, everybody. My name is Alma Valdez Brown. I am a Senior Business Development Officer at Lift Fund. Lift Fund's a nonprofit microlender. We offer small business loans. And I got involved. I was looking for a job and I had some business background and I was offered a position for loan officer. And I've been with the company for 14 years now. And I absolutely love working with entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, Alma. Casey, how about yourself?
Thank you, Javier. My name is Casey Ubias. I'm with the City of Austin's Economic Development Department. And I've been with the department about 8 years. And in those 8 years, I was in the administrative side. I did contract development. And so I was in support of Javier's program, the Family Business Loan Program, for those years. And recently I had the opportunity to jump on the other side and go to the front office of that. And so that's how I got involved in this.
Thank you so much, Casey, for sharing your experience. And then next up, I have Raquel.
Hi, everybody. My name is Raquel Valdez Sanchez. I am the Chief Operating Officer at BCL of Texas, which is Business and Community Lenders. We're a community development financial institution. So we're different from a bank where we're able to help communities through economic development programs, small business lending. And so that's what we're excited to talk about. When it comes to my entrepreneurial journey, it's where I grew up in this space of economic and community development. I started learning about this when I was really young because of my family and what they were involved in. And I learned about financing, especially small business administration financing, where I was doing presentations in high school. It's just something that I kind of fell into because I saw how small business actually creates community and really believed in that.
Thank you, Raquel. And then Cheyenne, tell us about your organization and your experience, please.
Absolutely. So People Fund is also a nonprofit small business lender based here in Austin, but we work throughout Texas. I got involved because I am excited about entrepreneurship. My father had a small business. My in-laws have had small businesses. And I'm hoping to someday have my own small business. Went to school and studied business management and entrepreneurship and actually started out as a volunteer with People Fund just because I wanted to kind of get closer and get involved, and then was drawn deeper and deeper in. And so I've been a loan officer now with People Fund for about 4 years. Love to work with startup businesses, which we do a lot of, and people looking to grow, and just to be a support to the folks who are on that journey already and watch their struggles and their triumphs and have a small piece, hopefully, in helping them work through that and get the funding that they need to start or to grow. So.
What a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing, each and every one of you. I will share with you that my entrepreneurial journey and really my passion for small business came from my parents. So as a young child, my parents actually had their own tax prep service that they founded and put together to help local small businesses to prepare their taxes. And it was an opportunity for them to supplement existing income from a regular 9-to-5 job. Fast forward to today, I'm fortunate enough to have a entrepreneurial spouse, and she runs a very successful consulting firm in the engineering services field. And so we continue that tradition and hope that we can also continue that tradition with our children as we move forward. So obviously, everyone on this panel, great passion for small businesses, and more importantly, helping them to succeed in Austin and their future endeavors. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. My next question is, and we'll kick it off with Alma, is what type of services does your organization offer to small businesses and other nonprofits?
So we offer two services. We offer small business loans as little as $500 up to $500,000. Within that realm, we offer SBA microloans. We're an SBA lender, so an SBA 7A loan. We're also a community development corporation, so we also offer an SBA 504 in partnership with the bank. So we have a large variety of small business loans that we offer. And then on the second part, we do offer business support services. We have a business center that offers workshops and free business advising.
Fantastic. How about you, Casey? What does the City of Austin offer?
Sure. The City of Austin offers to small business owners and entrepreneurs different variety of classes that could include coaching. We offer a couple of different categories of loan programs as far as matching up, helping businesses and entrepreneurs leverage. And recently we are working with a program called Community Navigators that is helping identify individuals, different types of businesses, from single artistic types to larger small businesses, and helping them navigate application and searching through other types of grant services and such, and additional classes and coaching type services also.
Raquel, could you tell us a little bit about the services that y'all provide?
Definitely. So at Business and Community Lenders, we do, similar to Lift Fund, small business lending. It's where we're an SBA certified lender. So we do SBA microloans, and where we do SBA 504 loans. We do 7A through our Community Advantage program. And our loan ranges are a little bit higher. It's where we actually do loans at $10,000 all the way to $500,000. And with those SBA 504s, they're commercial real estate loans. And so with those, they can actually go up to $5 million, but that's like when you're doing a big commercial real estate project. Without that, though, it's where we also do soft program services. So we do things related to financial education, financial coaching, and we're not just doing that specifically to help people just learning how to budget and manage your money, but about working on your business financials, understanding business credit and how that applies to you, figuring out how to then work with your organizations, like your financial institutions, your bonding companies, your vendors, and being able to help navigate how your finances impact your business. We also then do things related to our small business coaching programs, where we have coaches who work with you one-on-one to assist you through the process. And it's where they help you go through things like getting certified, working through your loan applications, working with just basic strategy around your business plan, around what you're trying to do next, around your growth and economic development related to job creation. And so it's where what I always say is, coming to us, we're not just going to be a resource with our own programs and services. We're going to also help you navigate resources within the community. And so that's one of the things that we're also proud to be part of with the City of Austin, is a community navigator. We're helping nonprofits and for-profits and organizations throughout the city be able to navigate all the resources that are out there related to small business loans, grants, technical assistance, education, and then the coaching piece that's necessary.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Raquel. And then next I've got Cheyenne. Cheyenne, can you tell us a little bit more about what's available at People Fund?
Absolutely. So similar to the other two organizations, we do offer loans ranging from, ours is from $1,000 to $350,000. And then we do participate as well in the 504 program with loans up to $5 million, again, for those commercial real estate projects. So on top of the lending, we also have business education, one-on-one coaching, also group settings. So we offer classes online. We have stopped offering them in person temporarily as a reaction to the pandemic. And then starting last year, we started a small business accelerator program for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We are rotating that program throughout the state of Texas. We just graduated a cohort of business owners in Austin and Dallas in Q4, and over the course of 8 weeks, helped them with education and lent over $1 million to those small businesses, and we'll continue with that program. So we have a lot to offer as far as funding goes and on business support and education. Our business advisors here focus more so on business planning and startups, and then we do link to other organizations around town and around the state for additional resources.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And so I guess I actually have a follow-up for Raquel on this particular topic. Raquel, can you give me just an idea of the importance of the coaching and the training that goes along with lending? Because I think a lot of folks think, when I start a small business, I really just need to focus on getting my money. And then I don't know that they always kind of incorporate the value of the training. So, and I noticed that at least two of the community groups here, the nonprofit organizations, offer that. I know the city of Austin also offers training. So could you give me just a little bit of thought on the importance of training in addition to lending, that they really kind of go hand in hand?
They do. It's where, when it comes to training and education, it's where there's so many resources. Lift Fund, People Fund, it's where we all are teaching workshops related to, how to work on strategies for growth and how to look at ways to understand and manage your financials, ways to be able to just leverage working relationships with community organizations. And then also we talk about how can we be able to have access to capital? We talk about that all the time. I think we all do a workshop probably once a month, if anything, about access to capital. And I think what it is, it's about, one, demystifying the myths that are out there, because there's a lot of myths that are out there that others perpetuate around lending and what it means. It's also to educate them about what traditional financing through banks and credit unions look like, and how that also differs between those institutions, because they're able to set their own, what their requirements are and what the relationship that they need to have in terms of the depository relationship. And then there's also the non-traditional, which People Fund, Lift Fund, BCL, as well as the City of Austin's program all fall into, that non-traditional loan program. And it's where being able to provide that education, especially have them learn more, then helps them be more empowered to make financial decisions that best suit their needs.
Thank you so much for that. And then for Casey, I guess the follow-up question, I've heard that the city of Austin is really kind of looking differently at their small business community. And it sounds like now they're wanting to make sure that the public knows that, our creative community, our nonprofit organizations, they have a place with these particular coaching and training opportunities, as well as our creative community, to be able to have access to some of these programs as well. Have you heard anything similar to that?
Very much as you described it. It's an approach of addressing the individuals all the way down to a single artistic community or an artistic entrepreneur, and meeting their needs. They have the same need. They have a lot of the same needs as some of the other entrepreneurs. So it's a better approach at reviewing them and helping them find resources that are better fitted to what their needs are, which are going to be not all over the place, but obviously they can be very different from some of the other business community. So it's a good thing the way the city is looking at it in that approach. For instance, some of our categories break into small business, nonprofit, and then our creative types. And so it's good to, as you described it, just make sure that they're also being addressed, all the way down to a single individual artist, even, that is operating a business by himself.
Fantastic. Thank y'all for sharing. I know the next question I have to ask because folks are screaming in the background right now. What about grant opportunities? You know, with COVID related legislation that came out with CARES and then ARPA after that, I know that the question still is out there. Are there grants available? And if so, where is this free money at? And so really kind of structure the question. I hear a lot. Basically, the question is, are there grants? And if is this free money? So I'm going to start in a different order. Yeah, I was going to go with Raquel first on this one.
I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry, Casey. I want to jump in just because I was on a panel about this just last week. And I do want to promote a couple of ones that I know are coming down the pipeline, but it's where I do also want to say that these grants are rare. I've worked in this work for over 16 years, and prior to the pandemic, it would be very difficult for me to really talk about grant programs. There was one or two programs and they were designed around county or city. They were very short-lived. It was because maybe a small little community put their sales and use tax associated with a small business grant program. And so these are so rare. And so these are not going to be long-term solutions that I think cities and communities are going to do forever. But it's where they are something that luckily through CARES Act funding and ARPA funds, these cities and communities and these organizations have been able to do over the last couple of years and we're going to be seeing them up until the next few. Well, I think all the plans have to be in place with ARPA funds by like spring or fall time. So it's one of those things where we're going to be looking at a few new programs possibly coming down. And so I'm going to be real quiet in a second, but it's where there's one program that's going to be coming down the pipeline within the city of Pflugerville. And then I know that Travis County, they did their Thrive program. They're going to be doing a second round of Thrive coming up. And then it's where they may possibly do a third round of Thrive. And that's for Travis County businesses located within Travis County. So there definitely will be more details about those. And we can definitely share that with the city of Austin to share with the community as part of this. But I'm going to be quiet and let the other ladies and Casey share.
Fantastic. And actually, Casey, I think this is a good segue maybe into as Raquel had noted, maybe this is not like a long-term thing, but what can we do right now? Are there any programs right now to help folks either apply for or identify grant opportunities?
That's exactly what our Community Navigators program does. BCL obviously being one of them, and along with 9 other Community Navigator vendors that are very much they've specialized in areas. They've identified areas where they can be of more assistance to our different communities. Some of them are helping with entrepreneur, artistic. Some are helping more with small business. Some are specializing in just nonprofit. But what they're doing is exactly that. They're taking advantage during this short time that we don't know how long that those funds and programs or true grants will be around like that. But that's what they're doing. They're helping an individual not only search for those grants, but hopefully apply for those grants. So very much what Raquel was mentioning there.
Thank you, Casey.
Like
and then
ultimately, those are extremely rare. The grants in business. So it's a short window. Hopefully, a lot of people will take advantage of this.
Fantastic. So the Community Navigators is a path to at least apply for and identify those particular grant opportunities, and that's available at the City of Austin. Alma, I'll come to you next. Do you have an additional feedback on this particular topic?
I don't know. I wasn't aware of any grants that were coming up, so I'm happy to hear what Raquel shared. That's great.
Thank you so much, Alma.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheyenne, just an opportunity to kind of just share some additional thoughts.
So I'm glad Raquel shared what she did too. Grants are few and far between. They're usually a short period of time and a lot of times very specifically directed at certain causes. For instance, we helped administer some grants to musicians during the pandemic. Those are all up. What we have and what I know of is that with our Minority Small Business Accelerator, we are doing grants as part of that program to help folks cover their usually 10% required owner's equity injection into a microloan. And so folks that go through our program are having that owner's equity injection granted to them. And if they already have an established business and they finish the program and qualify for a loan, then the grant is just given as straight grant funds toward their project. But otherwise, except for what Raquel mentioned, I'm not aware of anything currently out there.
Thank you all for sharing your feedback. So I know that we covered some of this at the very beginning at the introduction on the organizations, but I do want to go to each organizations and get an idea of what your loan program's kind of requirements are. Because I know when folks are going to apply, they want to know kind of what to expect in that conversation. And so I will start with Cheyenne on this round and ask Cheyenne, what are kind of the basic requirements of your lending program?
Yeah, so I'll give some basic detail and hopefully not too much. So we are primarily an SBA lender. If you have a new business, anything under 2 years, there's a few things. You need to have some funds available to put into your own project. That's your skin in the game. We want to see that you're fully invested in your business. As part of that, we want to see a business plan and some financial projections. And again, that's something that our business coaches or coaches from another organization can assist with. And hopefully, again, for a startup, there will be some additional financial support to kind of maintain your household as part of that. If you are an established business, we want to see that you're having the ability to be profitable in your business, and then we can kind of work with you on growth loans. We also do something I forgot to mention earlier, funding for nonprofit organizations, especially those who have grants that are awarded already, but maybe there's some gaps in the timing where they need to still, pay their staff, and the funding comes in at levels or at timing that doesn't work for them. We do some lines of credit for established nonprofits that have grant funds pending. So that's kind of a basic overview.
Thank you so much for sharing. Alma, how about for Lift Fund?
Thank you. So I like to describe our criteria as being the same criteria that a bank has, but with more flexibility. So we're looking at personal credit. We're looking at cash flow, right? We want to make sure that our loan is going to be paid back, and collateral. And so with those three, I stress that what makes us different than a bank or any other commercial lender is that we have some flexibility in that. And just for a quick example on the credit, our average credit for our borrowers is a 580. And so you see that there's some flexibility there with our loan programs versus what a bank, maybe they need a 680 minimum to consider you a loan. A bank would need 2 years in business, whereas we do fund startups as well. So those are the main criteria. We do have some additional criteria for startup businesses. They have to have skin in the game, as Cheyenne mentioned, relevant experience in the business that they're starting, right? I like to say that, just because I woke up this morning and I love eating donuts and I want to open up a donut shop, it's probably not going to work because I have no experience in working in pastries or donuts or any bakery. So that's important. And then we do ask for an outside income to help support your household, as Cheyenne mentioned, and then the loan payment. So those are our criteria.
Thank you, Alma.
Yeah.
Casey, how about for the city program? What are they looking for?
Sure. Very similar. They touched on a lot of the same things. Of course, we'd like to see generally that you have at least 2 years in operation. Although our microloan program, we can assist with being in business as little as 6 months. But very similar requirements. We want to see that the borrowers have some skin in the game, preferably, as everyone is using. That's a great term. We want to see essentially that they can afford the loan. And I don't want to harp on credit. It's more of a holistic approach. So there is I will say there's a bit of flexibility where we can review an entire application. It's good to see things like a good debt repayment history. But like I said, we're not married to the credit score. It's very much a holistic approach of things like that: years in operation, profitability, a good history of debt repayment, situations like that.
All right. I see a trend forming here. How about Raquel? Raquel, what are we looking for in BCL?
Yeah, so I mean, our programs are very similar to Lift Fund and People Fund. We actually refer a lot of clients who come into us for our coaching programs who are in that startup phase to Lift Fund and People Fund. What BCL kind of focuses on are more businesses that are already established 2 years or longer, or in growth industries where they're startups in terms of the less than 2 years, but they're growing so rapidly, they need access to larger amounts of capital and support and resources. So it's where we have 3 different programs that we really promote the most in the community. One of them is our Texas Small and Diverse Loan Program that is geared towards small businesses, specifically businesses that are within the BIPOC community, and people of color, businesses of color who have just not had access to capital. And it's where what we do is we provide them with coaching, expertise, connections. We also provide them with access to capital. And we've relaxed our criteria in terms of, usually when you go into a bank, and Casey kind of mentioned to this, having the debt coverage ratio, having the loan to value of your collateral, the credit score requirements, all of that's relaxed. It's where we'll even look at some, depending on the industry and what their collateral is, maybe not having security on there if there's difficulties with that for collateral. And so those loans range from $10,000 to $50,000 because we're looking at helping them quickly, fastly, again, to go and grow. And they're getting that assistance and support. So they're checking in with their small business coach monthly on the progress of their business as they're operating. It's where we have another one, which is our growth loan program. And our small business growth loan program is specifically for businesses that are existing 2 years or longer and who are looking to grow. And those loan amounts are $50,000 plus to $250,000. With those, it's where they're specifically looking at purchasing new equipment, leasehold improvements on a facility that they're already operating, maybe interim financing capital if they're doing commercial real estate, and actually building or purchasing a building, buying heavy equipment and machinery, new trucks if they're working in freight, transportation industry, or even inventory for some companies that are looking through, they have to purchase inventory. So it's where with those businesses, they're working really closely with our loan officers. We're working through that process. And going back to what Casey said, credit is really more of a holistic approach for us. We're not looking at a credit score, traditional like what banks do. We're looking at patterns and behaviors. At everything we do, we look at the individuals of the ownership to be able to say, do you have that management expertise, which Alma was kind of going towards, but also, do you have the financial management skills? Have you been successful in managing your finances for the business? Have you been able to put systems in place so that you can see consistent growth and continuity? And that's something that we dealt with during the pandemic. It's where we worked with a number of businesses about continuity, just helping them stay present, focused, and still keeping their doors open, whether they operated a facility or whether they, operated in their homes and did the service delivery of some sort, whether it was a professional service or such. And it was about continuity because everything kind of stopped, right? And so it was about the next steps of how to keep it going. So what, again, we do is help navigate people through. So if it's not our loan programs, we're connecting with our other resource providers. It's where I probably don't connect with the city of Austin as much as I should. So I need to reconnect with Casey and start sending him some deals because I think what's competitive compared to us is that the city of Austin has a really good rate on those microloans.
Thank you so much. So the trend that I'm seeing here out of this conversation is there is collaboration between all the groups, but it sounds like this group of individuals is really looking for opportunities to help their clients no matter what the organization it is. And honestly, I've been fortunate enough to experience that mutual respect and opportunity to really focus on who we're trying to help here, which is our small business community. The other trend I'm seeing here is have to have skin in the game. So it's not just a function of applying for money and having that money come back to you. It's what are you offering as well? What is your stake in this particular transaction that's going to make this transaction successful? Additionally, it looks like folks are looking, there's some flexibility on credit. And I do have a question on credit after this, but it looks like by and large, there's no fast and hard rules on this. Obviously, you do have to have a history of repaying your obligations. That's kind of a basic foundation of this. But within that framework, there is some opportunity for flexibility. And then finally, you really just want to make sure that the business, it sounds like the mutual answer here is if a loan is made to an individual company, there just needs to be the opportunity for them to be successful. And so that doesn't make sense making a $5 million loan to a company that just started, a year ago and is just now getting the opportunity to pay basic bills. So it sounds like there is an understanding that we want them to be successful in their entrepreneurial journey, and that is by setting them up for success in a lending application. Real quick item, and I know that Raquel shared a story with me on this, but I also wanted to get Alma's take on this as well. With respect to like applying for several places, does that impact your score, Alma? Like if I'm applying with Raquel and then also applying with you over at Lift Fund, how is my score going to be impacted as a business owner?
So it probably will be impacted. To the extent of how much, I don't have that answer because it really depends on your credit as a whole.
Sure.
I think that if someone is shopping around, let's say it's for a small business loan, let's say they go to BCL and they come to Lift Fund and they come to People Fund, what we're mostly concerned about is, well, did they give you a loan and do you have that obligation? Because if you do, then we need to consider that as we're evaluating your request with us. If for some reason it didn't work out and they said no, right, then that's great. We'll make a note of that, and then we'll certainly consider it with our loan programs. So yes, it does, but to the extent, I can't answer that. Again, it just depends on your credit as a whole.
And I know Raquel,
I'm sorry if I can interrupt you.
Oh, sure.
I'd like to just add is that if someone is interested and just doesn't know which of these community lenders, even through the city, right, which of us to come to, I would say just have a conversation with us first and figure that out. We all know each other and we know which programs. So, for example, if they're looking for a larger loan, then I might give Raquel a call, right, to say,
Sure.
hey, Raquel, this is somebody that's looking for a larger loan. Our cap is $250 for this type of loan request. And so I highly encourage a phone call versus going out and, replying everywhere. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to add that.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much for that insight, because I think when folks go out there, they do worry about, well, I need to find the right one on the first shot. And it sounds like the first step is actually a conversation, not an application. I know that Raquel and I talked offline before about credit counseling, because a lot of folks think before I go over into a lending application, I'm just not feeling real good about my credit right now. Maybe I should go to a credit counselor or somebody that can help repair that credit. And Raquel shared some valuable insight on that process. I wanted to see if I can give her a minute to speak to that.
Yeah, so I think the story that I shared with Javier was about a client that came in for our financial coaching programming, which is a little bit separate from our small business coaching. And when they came in, it's where they had some collection issues. They had specifically a government collection, and it's where we needed to help them navigate through that. So the coach actually sat down and visited with them, gave them the tools and the resources, set them up with an actual action plan where we focused on what is the goal that they wanted to achieve, how are they going to do that, and what are the process improvements that they could make. It's where they were able to start putting those plans in place, and they actually paid and got, when I say paid, they did not pay off that government debt. They got on a payment plan with that government debt. That ended up really what hurting the credit the most, and they were able to get that set up quickly. So within 6 months, they saw their credit score increase by 30 points. That's not the same for everybody. Everybody's is different. But what that really did is it helped them understand the plan. And so going back to what Alma said, it's where being able to communicate and have a conversation about what your issues are and actually addressing them versus just saying, well, somebody else can help me. It's where you're running away from the problem or from a situation more than a problem. And it's where sometimes we need to address the issues head on, because that might come back to impact us later. It's where we understand how our clients work and we understand how our programs work. We understand how financing works. And it's where I have a client of mine who is a great borrower. He has a loan with us, but then he had to do some quick money and ended up doing a predatory type of payday hard money lender. It's where we were able to refer him because I was at a maximum with my loan limits with him. And I was able to refer him to People Fund. He actually got a loan with People Fund. And while we knew we were both, had the same collateral as our security, we saw also his repayment ability. And so while I couldn't assist him with the second loan, I was able to connect him with my resource provider, which was People Fund, to be able to then give him that access. And we were able to both work together. And it's about having that conversation. He needed to have that conversation with me about the issue he got into. If I needed money quickly, we have contracts. I needed to be able to make payroll and pay my operating expenses. And how we were able to say, hey, next time don't do that. Just give us a call and we can be able to reconnect you and get something, just worked it out.
Thank you, Raquel. Actually, this next question goes to Cheyenne. I know that there's a frequent question is, are there programs designed to serve the veterans community? I understood, Shine, you might have some insight on this over at People Fund.
Yeah, thanks for that question. So we love to work with veterans at People Fund. We've developed some partnerships where we actually have subsidization of our loan rates. I'm not sure if I said that right, but veterans who are otherwise qualified will receive a reduced interest rate, and that is thanks to a partnership we have with JP Morgan Chase and the veteran program. So overall, that interest rate, although it helps lower the payments and it makes it a little easier to qualify, and we give a veteran rate on any of our loan programs, which is a discount of anywhere from 2 to up to 7 percentage points off. And so we also have just a whole separate veteran loan program. We've started a partnership with other CDFIs around the country to collaborate and try to help veteran-owned businesses. And so there are some of our standard loan programs, but kind of customized for veterans to make access a little bit easier and to offer some additional support.
Yeah, over 2 years, still getting used to it. Are there any other individuals that their group offers a veteran designed program?
We do at Lift Fund. So we have a loan program up to $50,000 through a partnership with USAA, and we do offer a 2% rate reduction off of that, and that is for veterans and spouses of veterans. So it could be a spouse that is starting a business or growing their business.
Thank you.
City of Austin also has a veterans program very similar to our microloan program, where we set aside $250,000 for veteran entrepreneurial type projects.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for sharing this valuable information. I hope the audience has found this information as valuable as I have, and just really enjoyed the opportunity with working with this panel today to get some of this needed information out into the community. And I know that we'll be welcoming questions after this particular session. But again, I wanted to thank everybody for your time and your attention to the small business community, and look forward, honestly, to networking with each and every one of y'all going forward as we work together to ensure that our small business community has the resources and the services they need to be successful in this town. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well.